the worst thing you can do as a creative, as a business owner, as anyone with a passion or an obsession or just drawn to something other than what they're doing, the worst thing you can do is... Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Will. I'm a creative business owner and videographer. If you're not new here, welcome back to another video. And this week, I'm talking about momentum. Momentum is something that I have noticed in my own life being a key indicator of how successful, you might say, or how consistent I am, whether that's my fitness, whether that is my business or relationships. The longer I do something, the more success I find in it. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's something that's not quite obvious when you are starting off. And what do I mean by that? In today's age of social media and just influence from online sources, it's very easy to expect a high level of success and growth in a short amount of time. Meaning, when we do something new, we expect, for some reason, that we are going to be wildly successful or make massive progress in a very short amount of time. And where for some people, it's possible, and it does happen, for the vast majority of people, that is very unlikely. Even the people that you might look up to online, like other large content creators, you might think that their fame or the success happened overnight because their following was grown overnight. But what you typically don't see is years or months or whatever of effort and work and consistency leading up to that moment. I don't know the exact phrase, but it's like the idea of an overnight success is made over 10 years or something like that. Like, a lot of times the success that you see, you don't see the work that was put in to get there because it seemed like the success was, brought onto them very quickly. Now, where does momentum come into play? Momentum comes into play because the longer we do something, the higher the odds are of our inevitable success or progression. And to illustrate this, I'm going to give a little story or backstory into me and my story, because it's not something I share a ton, but I think it's very relatable if you are an entrepreneur, a creative business owner, a videographer, anyone in that sort of field. I got my first camera almost 10 years ago in high school, and I immediately fell in love with it. I had a background in graphic design, and so starting to get into photography kind of was like the obvious next step for me. And I fell in love with it. I would go out every weekend and just take pictures with my friends. We do like portrait photography, landscape. We just did everything. And it seemed to me obvious that that was how I was going to make a living in life. But when I graduated high school, I went back and forth as to what I should do, and inevitably landed on the belief that I should go to school and get a degree in engineering because it was a backup plan. And I went to school for a couple years, and during this whole time, I always knew in the back of my head that I was meant to do more and to basically make a living and create something for myself with my creative skills as far as like video and photo, because during this time I was also getting more into videography. And so after 2 years, I decided to drop out of school with no plan and pursue my dream of becoming a videographer. There wasn't really a set in stone plan. Like I just said, like, it wasn't like I thought I was going to be doing this. I had some rough idea of owning a business, but beyond that, there was literally no plan. And I did that for a couple years, but I never really found a lot of success in it. I was always the feast or famine freelancer when it comes to videography and photography. I never really had a consistent client base. I was always working a part-time or even full-time job on the side. Well, maybe not on the side if it was full-time, but I was always working another job, and I never found a lot of success with it. And so what eventually happened was I would get distracted and move into something else. So I would give up photo and video for a period of time and try something different because I felt like video and photo just wasn't it for me, because I just couldn't find the success I wanted. So I got into things like drop shipping, like more digital marketing, social media marketing, like running ads for businesses. I, at one point, got my real estate license and took like 10 months off of trying to grow a video business. But eventually, in every single one of those circumstances, after every single time that I stopped doing photo and video and started doing something else, inevitably, I would go back to photo and video. I would always have this itch that I knew would not be scratched by the thing that I was doing, unless the thing that I was doing was photo or video. And the problem with what happened over the last, between high school and now, or like 2 years ago, is that every time that I let my foot off the gas with photo and video, every time that I hit the brakes and eased up and lost, my focus and tried doing something else, I lost all momentum with my video and photo business. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that like people stopped thinking that I was the photo video guy, or I stopped doing it at all capacity, but it meant that I just stopped trying to, I lost this like the belief or the motivation that I could make it work. And every time you lose that, and every time you step away and think that you're going to do something else, you lose all belief, or at least the subconscious belief of your potential of success of what you're doing. If I would have, for example, from the time I was in high school back in like 2016 to now, just done only photo video all in the entire time, imagine, and I'm speaking to myself here, I suppose, but imagine where I would be compared to where I'm now. And I'm very proud and happy of where I am now, but it's hard not to wonder what could be. Now, I don't say this to get stuck on the past and what has happened, because I'm very grateful for all the things that I did in between working on my video business. And I don't think I would be where I am if it wasn't for some of those things, from the skills that I learned and the experiences that I had, whether it's sales from real estate or learning marketing from working at a digital marketing agency and all the other things. But all of those things probably don't outweigh just doing the thing for 10 years. And so what I'm trying to get at here, and what I'm trying to, translate to you, is if you have a passion or an obsession or something that is just always there in your life, and you know deep down that it is what you are meant to be doing, don't let off the gas. Don't take a break. Don't go try something else. Do that. Do that one thing. It is your innate purpose in life to capitalize and offer to the world what it is you are good at. And if you already know what it is, it's the thing that just popped in your head over the last 30 seconds of me talking about it. And if you're not doing it right now, if right now you're on a hiatus trying to go make your money another way so then you can come back to it and not have to think money about it, or think about money when it comes to it, you're making a mistake. The worst thing you can do as a creative, as a business owner, as anyone with a passion or an obsession, or just drawn to something other than what they're doing, the worst thing you can do is lose momentum. The worst thing you can do is slow down. Just stop for a moment and ask yourself, if you were to take your craft, let's say you were a videographer, if you were to take your craft and go all in on it for 5 years, regardless of the financial success you had in the first year, in the first 6 months, in the first 3 years, whatever, regardless of what happened, do you really think that you would not be closer to your goal, or a better videographer, or a better person, or just happier? And the answer is obvious. You know the answer. The answer is obviously yes, you would be closer, you would be happier. And so if you're doubting yourself, if you've been chasing something for the last 6 months and it's not clicking, but you know deep down that you love it, and you're starting to get shiny object syndrome and starting to think, well, maybe I should do that and maybe I should do that, don't. Stick to what you're doing. Do not lose momentum. The moment you lose momentum, you have to start back from square one when you inevitably go back to the thing. I have realized as I've gone more into video and gone more into making my passion the focus in my business, in my life, I realize just how much I lose when I don't do that. When I start building up the momentum, it makes me realize how little momentum, or how much momentum I lost when I was ignoring the thing. And so from one creative to another, don't lose momentum. Don't slow down. Don't stop working towards the thing that you're working at, because you will always end up back working on it. No matter how you try to get distracted, no matter what other businesses you try to start, you will always end up back where you are. So you might as well stick with it and just keep the momentum going, because eventually it will work out. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I will see you next Saturday. Peace.